So, Kevin Hunter is making waves with a bombshell allegation that Beyoncé and Jay-Z allegedly silenced Wendy Williams. According to Kevin, the Carters used their massive industry leverage to put a muzzle on Wendy after years of her relentless Hot Topics attacks, especially after that fake baby bump scandal. Okay guys, one thing that people know for a fact is that Wendy was never a fan of the Carters, and she even made this very clear herself.
You would know, I've never partied with them. I've never been to their house. I don't swim in their pool. Like, we're not friends. I'm a pop culture pundit and commentator, right? That's what you call it. Pop culture woman. And I talk about people.
But how is it that Kevin Hunter is the one talking about the Carters allegedly silencing Wendy? The same Kevin who is currently embroiled in a $250 million federal lawsuit against Wendy's estate and her guardians after his alimony was cut off when the show ended, a loss that reportedly left him facing homelessness. Is Kevin finally exposing the truth about how the industry really treated Wendy? Or is he just spinning a sensationalist web to stay relevant and funded while Wendy deals with the most vulnerable chapter of her life? And how convenient that he's allegedly bringing this up when Wendy is mourning the loss of her dad. Something's not right, guys, but let's just get into it. More recently, as Wendy has dealt with guardianship and health issues like frontotemporal dementia, Kevin Hunter has been more vocal about the enemies Wendy made in the industry, and he has framed himself as the protector who stood between Wendy and the powerful celebrities she offended. And if there's one thing we know, Beyoncé was a hot topic on Wendy's show all the time. Actually, just to mention a couple of those times that may have come across as offensive, Wendy made fun of Beyoncé's speaking voice a lot, and even said that Beyoncé sounds like she has a 5th grade education and needs closed captioning. At one point, she even expressed her opinion that Beyoncé should have been given a Disney frog role instead of Alicia Keys. However, according to Wendy, Beyoncé would need elocution lessons for her Ebonics speaking style to be suitable for a Disney movie.
She's a real looker, and she's a great singer, but she speaks the Ebonics, and that might not be good for it.
Then there's how Wendy constantly fueled the narrative that Beyoncé had to steal from several artists to get ahead. Like there was a time a filmmaker sued Beyoncé, claiming she copied his short film for the Lemonade trailer. And on the show, Wendy reviewed receipts showing similarities in imagery like graffiti, garages, and grass, before noting that it's not the first time BA has been accused of stealing from other artists.
That people play around with pregnancy. I've had so many miscarriages, and I beg God so much for my own. I just don't like to. And all right, here's some alleged conspiracy theories. Number 1, the baby is helping Beyonce's sagging.
I mean, it's not like Wendy lied, because BA has been accused multiple times by others for stealing from artists. For instance, remember when Beyoncé covered Desiree's song Kissing You for her album B-Day, retitling it Still in Love, Kissing You, and she gave herself writing credit? In fact, a deal to use the song did not come into fruition, but Beyoncé went ahead and re-recorded the song and even made a video. Now, when Desiree realized what had happened, she took BA to court and sought $150,000 in damages and for the distribution of the song to be essentially stopped. There's also how it's also been speculated over the years that the reason why BA is successful is because she literally stole Amerie's sound, because apparently the sound her label had initially curated for her was a huge flop.
Original Beyonce stole her steez.
Oh, you think so?
Look at Crazy in Love video and look at A. Marie, Why Do We Fall in Love.
In addition, back in 2003, there were reports that artist Jennifer Armour sent a demo of her song Got a Little Bit of Love for You to Beyoncé's record label, Columbia Records. Then a few months later, she heard Baby Boy on the radio and thought the song sounded awfully familiar. Jennifer Armour even filed a lawsuit but ultimately lost because she couldn't prove to the judge that BA physically heard her song first. So you see, it's not like Wendy was just coming up with the allegation. But the nail in the coffin was that fake baby bump scandal. Wendy addressed allegations that Beyoncé faked her pregnancy, including speculation about a surrogate or adoption.
They're adopting, but they're gonna play it off like it's allegedly, you know, like they gave birth. I don't know, but I can. Okay, you remember I was the first one to say this, and you remember, because wait, I haven't said it yet. Watch. It's gonna be an at-home water birth in the master bathroom. There are gonna be 3 people there. Beyonce, Jay-Z, and her mother.
Even before Beyoncé announced her pregnancy, Wendy had already speculated that Beyoncé and Jay-Z were manipulating the media with false pregnancy rumors to promote their On the Run HBO special. Then, to make things even juicier, she conducted a pregnancy experiment with her staff to test the theory that Beyoncé faked her pregnancy and expressed her own skepticism about the rumors, hoping Beyoncé wasn't lying. By the way, this baby bump issue was such a huge story, and Wendy even noted in a later episode that as much as everyone was talking about it, she's the only one that was getting all the backlash. To be honest, if you comb through the Wendy archives, you will realize that Wendy has literally talked about every nasty detail about Jay-Z and Beyoncé. From her analysis of Beyoncé's Lemonade era, to Jay-Z's cheating and the speculation that Becky with the good hair refers to fashion designer Rachel Roy and his various mistresses. Anyway, Wendy has also discussed the controversy surrounding Beyoncé's song Bow Down, her beef with Rihanna, the way she ruined Carrie Hilson. She talked about Kelly Rowland admitting to being jealous of Beyoncé's success at one point in her life, as revealed in Kelly's song Dirty Laundry. Wendy also discussed Beyoncé's alleged disapproval of her mother Tina dating Richard Lawson, particularly due to his alleged occasional involvement with Scientology. I mean, Wendy even suggested that Beyoncé's personal Instagram photos with Jay-Z are staged by publicists. She has also covered the fishy story of Jay's alleged love Rymir suing Jay-Z for a paternity test. Speaking of Rymir, by the way, there were reports that Jay-Z's legal team, or Roc Nation, issued cease and desist orders behind the scenes, particularly regarding Wendy's coverage of the Rymir Satterthwaite paternity allegations. Basically, if we combine everything Wendy has said about Beyoncé over the decades, it will take us the entire day. Now, I get the Carters possibly wanting to silence Wendy because of everything Wendy said about them, but how is it that Kevin Hunter suddenly wants to be the whistleblower? I mean, it's a bit suspicious that these revelations about Beyoncé silencing Wendy only started flying after Kevin's alimony checks dried up and his $250 million lawsuit, which he allegedly filed without Wendy's knowledge or consent, was tossed out of court. If he was so worried about her being silenced, why wait until he was facing foreclosure and broke to speak up? Kevin literally filed court documents requesting that the court vacate and set aside the settlement agreement with Wendy, and he requested the judgment based on what he said was fraud, misrepresentation, and misconduct. Basically, he was still after Wendy's money, and he even cited an affidavit by Wendy's best friend Regina, who had said that while living with Wendy in July 2022, she saw her bank balance, and she even said that Wendy was considering changing her financial institution and met with Bank of America in December 2022. And before this, Kevin had already taken Wendy to court like 4 times, even questioning whether Sabrina had legal standing to represent Wendy in the litigation due to her becoming Wendy's guardian 2 years after the divorce was finalized. Like, he was even demanding that Wendy should represent herself and make appearances in court herself, saying in court documents, the defendant further asks that the court order the plaintiff Wendy Hunter to appear before the court herself. Plus, there have also been stories about how Kevin himself planned to silence Wendy, and I even heard a narrative about how Kevin Hunter and her production team were allegedly poisoning her for years. Okay, about this. Anyone who is following Wendy knows that she was planning to go back to radio, and her plan was actually to do that as soon as she divorced Kevin. However, because the industry is small, word somehow got to Kevin that Wendy was planning to quit television and go back to radio. Basically, Kevin was not about to let that happen, so he came up with a plan with production to keep Wendy medicated, but just enough for her to be able to show up to work and do the show. And you want to know how they were doing it? Through her tea that she took daily on the show. Allegedly, the plan was to keep Wendy medicated for as long as it was possible, use her for as long as it was possible, and then delete her when they no longer needed her. And all of a sudden, Kevin is now Wendy's protector? Very suspicious. Well, best believe that even Wendy herself isn't buying his protector narrative. In fact, in a recent fiery call-in to TMZ Live in late 2025, Wendy didn't hold back, and she called her ex-husband a money grubber, saying bluntly, "Of course he wants to steal my money. He's always been that way." So maybe this is just another tactic by Kevin to try and get on Wendy's good side and hopefully get the alimony resumed. Again, I wouldn't put it past the Carters to silence Wendy, or at the very least, participate in the process. But you let me know what you think about Kevin allegedly bringing it up in the comments section below.